What's up, everybody? Squirrel Man back again. I'm here in Massachusetts, Sturbridge, Massachusetts. It's nice here, man. The weather's super nice. It's like sweater weather. It's beautiful. The truck's totally off. I got the windows open. It's just a nice, cool breeze. It's perfect, you know. And those are the days that we long for. Tell you what, after that brutal ass summer we had. And if you get to know me, I'll tell you, I hate summertime. I do. I hate it. I hate sweating my nuts off. I hide inside all summer, man. I'm not the outdoorsy person in the middle of July when it's 150 degrees outside and your balls are sticking to your thighs. Screw that, man. like I like the fall and the spring, man. Sweater weather. Those are my favorite days. So yeah, I'm in Massachusetts right now. I just did like 990 something miles to get here in the last couple of days, and I killed it. I mean, I honestly didn't even have to drop that load until 6 o'clock this morning, and I got there at 8 o'clock last night, so I got there wicked early. But the one thing I learned was when you're going to a place you've never been to before, first of all, you should always look at it on the satellite, the real world satellite map on your GPS. Always do that. Right? Because you want to get a feel of what the place looks like, what the parking looks like, what the where you're going to come from, you know. You want to see if there's roads with big shoulders on them, because if you're out of hours when you get there, you're going to need a place to park and sleep, right? So those are big things you want to look at, right? But last night I pull in there, nobody's there, and there's a gate, and the gate has a freaking chain on it. And I'm calling people, and they're like, oh, the code is this, that. And I'm putting it in there. It's not working. So that didn't bother me too much. What really bothered me was that last night, yesterday was Sunday, today's Monday. Last night, or Sunday, is the last day of the pay period. So all your BOLs, you got to have everything in by Sunday at midnight. So it was like, I got there at like 6 o'clock, right? So I called my dispatch and I'm like, hey, I want this BOL in before midnight. Now, normally you have to get them to sign it, but there's nobody there. I can't even drop the trailer, you know, because I can't even get in the place. But long story short, the dude did show up. He did sign it. They had to call him at home for him to come there to open the gate for me. But yeah, long story short, he showed up. I dumped the trailer. He signed it. And I confirmed it today that I'm going to get paid on this coming paycheck, because it was just under 1,000 miles. That's going to be like somewhere around $700 for me. It's like, that's awesome. I was like, I did not want to wait 2 weeks to get that, you know. But the other thing is I want to talk about is, where do truckers sleep? Because I think a lot of people assume that truckers just always sleep at truck stops. Trust me, that is not true. I wish that was true. I wish I knew I was going to have a spot at a truck stop every single day, and that's just not going to happen, right? So like yesterday, I pull in there, and I only had like 2.5 hours left on my clock, and I only had like not even 5 hours left on my 70-hour clock. Because if you don't know what I'm talking about, in 7 days, you get 70 hours to drive the whole week, right? You get 11 hours of driving time a day in a 14-hour shift, so that means you get 3 hours of lollygagging, 11 hours of driving, that's in one day, and then you get 70 hours for the whole week. Well, I'm down to like my last 5 hours for the whole week, but in that shift, yesterday I had like 2.5 hours, so I'm like, great, I don't know where I'm going to go. Well, right around the corner was this shopping mall, huge shopping mall parking lot, and 90% of the time, I'm going to tell you, I would not advise you to try to sleep in a shopping mall parking lot. And I'll tell you why. Because those little goofy security guards love to come and kick you out, right? They don't care what your excuses are. The first thing they're going to say is, well, you can stay here, but I'm going to call the cops, right? It's happened to me many times. I've slept in some weird places, man. I even slept in like a Hardee's parking lot one time, right? So, you might find yourself sleeping on those exit ramps and the on-ramps on the interstates. And if I'm not going to tell you not to do that, but if you have to do that, sleep on the other side, the entrance ramp, not the exit ramp. The exit ramp is really dangerous. I would not do that, because cars are slowing down from 80 miles an hour, and they might not see you, and they're going to plow right into your ass. An entrance ramp, they're just getting up to speed. They're barely going 25, 30 miles an hour. So it's a lot safer to sleep on the entrance ramp than it is the exit ramp, right? So, other places I've parked, Walmarts. Walmarts are not a sure thing either, no more than a shopping mall. And I'll tell you this, with blue states are the worst for trying to find random places to park. They are the worst. They do not cater to truck drivers at all. Blue states, Democrats are the most entitled people in the whole country. I mean, they think the stuff like that we deliver on these trucks, they think it just falls out of the sky, right? And just lands right in their lap. They never appreciate where things come from or what people have to do to make that stuff, fall in their lap or in their living room or in their gas tank. That's how Democrats are. That's how I don't even I don't bother debating with them or nothing, because their brains aren't wired correctly, right? So when you're in blue states, and not all the blue states are terrible. Like, I'm in Massachusetts right now, and like I said, I actually got lucky and slept in that mall parking lot. But what I want to say is, a lot of states, especially these blue states, because they're the worst for it, you can find a mall parking lot or Walmart or whatever, and they are just absolutely loaded with those stupid little islands with trees on them. I mean, they're just infested with them. And not only that, especially this is huge in California, their parking spots are so tiny. They're like this for golf carts. I mean, they're so tiny because they designed those for all those little goofy little like Scions and Prius cars and Teslas and shit, right? Because that's what those people drive, If you go to other states, and I'm not saying just the South, but yeah, it does happen in the South, you get more wide open territory. I'll tell you who's really good is when you go way out west to like, what was it, Idaho, I think I was in a long time ago. They actually had a Walmart with truck parking in it. I mean, those are states, those are people that live in the real world. They appreciate where they get their stuff from. So they cater to the people who bring their stuff to them, and I think that's awesome, right? And one thing I wish, oh my God, if I became president tomorrow, I would make it a federal law that any truck stop has to put a sign on the highway and the state has to pay for it, because I passed so many truck stops that I didn't even know they were there until I'm already passing it. I can see it off the highway. I'm like, how was I supposed to know that was there? There's no sign, and I'm not going to turn around and go back. But I passed so many truck stops that were probably really awesome, but I didn't know they were there. And it's too late once I'm seeing it driving past it, because that's in my Constitution. I don't turn around and make U-turns to go to truck stops. I just don't, because I had a bad experience doing that one time. I just don't. And every real deal truck driver has to have a Constitution. I have a Constitution. There's rules that I just don't break, right? So, yeah, in a perfect world, parking at the truck stops, and these corporate truck stops, these chain truck stops like Pilot. I'm at Pilot right now. These places are great, but, long gone are the days where, like, when you see those movies about truckers, they go into a truck stop and you can tell it's a mom and pop place. There's a bar, everybody's sitting around drinking, blah, blah. Dude, trust me, it's not like that anymore. I've been in one truck stop in my whole life that served alcohol for consumption, right? That actually had a bar in it. One. It was in Arizona, I think. It was Arizona or New Mexico. I think it was in Arizona. But nobody does that anymore. All these truck stops have completely been taken over by big corporations, and they're all chains now, all right? And they're all infested with the same crappy food like Hardee's, Wendy's, McDonald's. You rarely see one that actually has like real home cooked food that you actually want. Like yesterday, I stopped in a service area and it had what's the name of that place with the soups and sandwiches? Anyway, I really appreciated that, man, because I actually got like a real sandwich and real soup, instead of eating that fried crap. Like I'm getting so far away from fast food, and I'm getting to be real proud of myself because I feel like I'm losing a couple of pounds. I could tell my body's starting to thin out a little bit because I'm not eating that garbage anymore. And I can't tell you how proud I am of myself for doing that. Anyway, if or there's one thing I can really tell you when it comes to doing this job is trip planning. You got to trip plan, dude. You got to, if you're starting out in a day in the morning and you know you got to drive so many hours, you got to think about where you're going to be after that. You can't just assume some truck stop's going to fall out of the sky. You got to look around the radius of that destination where you're going. So if you're going to Richmond, Virginia, you know, you got to look on the map and say what's around there. Download some apps like get yourself a Pilot card, get you a Loves card, you know, and on those apps you can see it'll show you a map of all their destinations. You know, I got a Pilot and a Loves card, and that's how I trip plan, dude. I look on the maps, I can see all the destinations, so I can see, oh, okay, that one's 45 minutes that way, that one's an hour that way, you know. And certain times of the day, you got to gamble. Like yesterday, I had to gamble. I was at that mall parking lot at like 9 o'clock at night, and I could see 3 different truck stops within about an hour or so radius. I said, it's 9 o'clock at night, dude. You have 2 hours left on your clock. It's going to take you an hour to get there, right? So you got an hour left. If you get there and there's no parking, you know, you got an hour left to figure something out. So you can gamble and stay here and hope that nobody knocks on your door and kicks you out. And what do you think I did? I gambled. I stayed there, and I did not put myself in the sleeper for that very purpose. I always, when you stop for the day, you always want to put yourself in the sleeper. But I didn't do that, right? I went off duty because if you put yourself in the sleeper, it's going to run out your clock. If you go off duty, you're going to save most of your time, you know? I've never had to do that before, but I only did that in case I got woken up and I needed like an hour to go find something, you know? And I would not suggest doing that. Anyway, always trip plan. Always plan ahead, dude. Especially if you got teams, man. If you guys are a team, one of y'all needs to be doing one of these. One of you, if you're a navigator, you know, if you're sitting in that passenger seat, you're not sitting there to look pretty, dude. You need to be working. You need to be navigating. You need to be trip planning. I used to hate it when my buddy would sit there and I'd ask him, hey, look at this, look at that for me, and he'd act like I was putting them out. I'm like, dude, you're here for a reason. You're getting paid. You know, just because you're not driving doesn't mean you're not working. You need to be looking at that map. You need to be looking for locations. You need to be looking for places to park. You know, you need to be looking for the easiest place to get in and out of everywhere. You know, that's your job when you're sitting in that passenger seat. It's not just sit there and play video games. Anyway, hope this resonated. If there's some senior drivers out there that know what I'm talking about, please say something in the comments, because I want to hear them. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear the worst places you've ever had to park. I want to hear the worst people you've ever had to deal with. You know, especially at Loves. Loves is famous for that. I know I've spoken on that in the past. How Loves, like the little Nazi manager, likes to come out there and kick people out if he doesn't like the way you're parked. Yeah, tell me your stories. Please share my channel. Please subscribe. Common sense ain't common.